Whether it's a pig or a wild boar, messing with these creatures never seems to yield any fruitful results. They may seem like a lot of potential food to hungry predators, but as soon as they try to hunt them, they realize that they're nothing more than a big headache. And those hunts almost always end with the predators regretting them, which is exactly what we're about to see today. This massive python had managed to sneak up on a group of wild boars with their newborns, intending to make one of the young piglets its meal. But the snake's ambush quickly backfired, as the protective boars sprang into action, surrounding the python and launching a relentless attack. With furious determination, they charged from all directions, slamming into the snake with tusks and sheer force. Even the tiny piglets, inspired by the adults, joined in, adding to the chaos. The python tried to escape, but it was hopelessly trapped by the circle of enraged boars. Struggling under the constant assault, the snake had no way to defend itself or slip away, and the boars overpowered it in a brutal display of strength. By the end, the python's plan had completely unraveled, leading to its grim and painful end under the hooves and teeth of the relentless wild boars. Pigs are usually thought of as simple livestock, like cows or sheep, but they're capable of shocking displays of aggression when threatened. In this clip, a snake foolishly slithered into a pig pen, attempting to strike one of the pigs. What it didn't expect was the swift and brutal response. Within seconds, the pigs banded together, surrounding the snake and stomping on it repeatedly until it was dead. As if that wasn't enough, the pigs then took turns gnawing on the snake's lifeless body, sharing the unlucky intruder as a meal. This encounter completely turned the tables, showing the pigs as the true aggressors in a surprising display of teamwork and power. What started as a hunt for the snake ended as its own demise. The snake's fatal mistake of underestimating these livestock proved to be its last, as the pigs claimed a clear and definitive victory. In this clip, a snake made the grave mistake of sneaking into a pig's barn, only to face a fierce defense that it wasn't prepared for. Though the two pigs were young, they didn't hesitate to confront the intruder, realizing that if they didn't act first, the hungry snake might strike them. Without wasting a second, they launched a brutal attack, trampling and biting with everything that they had. Somehow, despite the snake's deadly nature, the pigs emerged unscathed, managing to overpower and kill it. To add insult to injury, one of the pigs decided to go further, chewing on the snake's remains, as if to make sure the invader would never pose a threat again. This fierce response from the young pigs left no doubt. Any predator thinking of targeting them should think twice. While bears may have no trouble taking down gars and bison, going up against a massive, angry wild boar is a completely different story. In this clip, a bear cautiously approached a towering wild boar, sizing it up to see if it was worth the risk. But before the bear could even consider making a move, the boar decided to act first, charging straight at the bear. Taken aback, the bear quickly realized this was no easy target and had no choice but to back down. Forced to retreat, the bear turned and ran from the enraged boar, a surprising and humiliating exit for a predator used to being at the top of the food chain. This encounter proved that some opponents, like a determined wild boar, can make even the fiercest predators regret their decisions. At a small watering hole, a massive wild boar stood, cooling off and minding its own business. When a brown bear wandered over, you'd expect the boar to turn around and flee. After all, most animals don't risk hanging around when a bear is nearby. But this boar didn't so much as flinch. It ignored the bear completely, not sparing it even a glance. Meanwhile, the bear seemed uneasy, sensing the boar's confidence and likely weighing the risks of staying too close. Not wanting to provoke the enormous boar, the bear took a quick, cautious sip of water and quickly backed off, choosing to leave rather than press its luck. It was a rare sight, seeing a bear, especially a brown bear, decide that discretion was the better part of valor. The boar's silent, unshaken dominance was all it took to send the bear nervously on its way. It's a fascinating idea when you know for sure that even a fully grown male lion couldn't have made that bear nervous, but the boar clearly did. Two foolish predators, a leopard and a hyena, found out the hard way why a wild boar is never an easy target here. The hyena was the first to spot the boar and jumped on top of it, trying to pin it down and make a quick meal out of it. But just as the struggle intensified, a leopard appeared, looking to join in and hoping to snag a share of the prize. But instead of helping, the leopard only served to distract the hyena, causing it to loosen its grip on the boar. Sensing an opening, the boar seized the moment, breaking free and charging straight at the leopard. With a swift, powerful strike, it rammed the leopard with its tusks, sending it flying. The boar then bolted out of the area, leaving the humiliated predators in the dust, stunned and licking their wounds. It was a clear lesson in why underestimating a wild boar can lead to a painfully embarrassing defeat. When a few cheetahs spotted a group of baby wild boars in the distance here, they immediately launched an attack, aiming for the easy targets. One cheetah managed to grab hold of a baby boar, and it looked like the hunt was about to end in the cheetah's favor. But what the cheetahs hadn't noticed was the group of adult wild boars nearby. The moment the boars saw what was happening, the adults charged in like tanks, storming toward the cheetahs with incredible force. Realizing the danger, the cheetahs instantly abandoned their hunt, releasing the baby boar and bolting as fast as they could. Though the cheetahs were larger in size, the boars had much bigger balls, and the big cats were scrambling to escape. With the angry boars hot on their tails, the cheetahs fled, regretting their decision to mess with the wild boar's offspring as they ran for their lives, thoroughly outmatched. You'd expect the big cats to dominate any encounter in the savannah, but wild boars have a way of turning things upside down. In this clip, instead of seeing cheetahs chasing off wild boars and their young, the tables were unexpectedly flipped. The cheetahs were lounging around with their cubs, minding their own business, when a determined wild boar strolled over, boldly claiming the area as its own. At first, the cheetahs seemed too stunned to react. It's not every day a creature other than a lion, leopard, or maybe a hyena dares to approach them. But this was no ordinary visitor. It was a small wild boar with its own young, marching straight up to the cheetahs and pressuring them to move. Finally, the cheetah, still in disbelief, gathered its cubs and retreated, outmatched by the boar's audacity. Even now, it's hard to believe that this fearless boar managed to chase off a big cat so effortlessly. Unwise decisions always come back to bite you in the ass, and this cheetah did the most unwise thing that you could do in the jungle. It wandered into wild boar territory, likely unaware of the trouble that it was stepping into. As soon as an angry adult boar noticed the big cat's presence, it charged forward, determined to drive the cheetah away from its land and protect its offspring. The cheetah, sensing the boar's intense aggression, didn't even consider standing its ground. In a typical response, it turned and sprinted off without attempting to challenge the boar's authority at all. For the cheetah, it was clear that a confrontation wasn't worth the risk. This young boar was peacefully napping in the grass when a few hungry cheetahs discovered it. One of the cheetahs cautiously approached, moving in for a closer look, but the moment it touched the boar's rear, the young one woke up with a start. The cheetah panicked and darted away, but with two more cheetahs present, they decided to regroup and work together to catch their target. Yet the boar was both fearless and incredibly agile, moving in circles around the cheetahs, slipping past their attempts to trap it. Just when it seemed the cheetahs might have a chance at success, the boar's mother spotted what was happening and charged in, barreling towards the predators with pure fury. The cheetahs, realizing they were outmatched, abandoned their hunt and scattered, accepting that luck was simply not on their side that day. In the wild, waterholes are a rare and precious resource, so it's common to see predators and prey side by side in peaceful truce, each understanding the value of this life-giving water. But once a wild boar arrives, that peace often shatters. In this scene, a group of cheetahs was calmly drinking from a waterhole when a gang of boars showed up, eyeing the same spot. Rather than share, the boars immediately charged in, intent on taking over the waterhole entirely. The cheetahs, willing to coexist, had no choice but to retreat when the aggressive boars launched their attack. The powerful territorial boars weren't interested in diplomacy. They wanted all the water to themselves, and they weren't about to let the cheetahs stick around. In a matter of seconds, the big cats gave way, leaving the boars to claim the waterhole as their own. Two wild boars caught a cheetah attempting to sneak into their territory here, and they quickly moved to surround it, one on each side. Although the boars weren't looking for a fight, they made their intentions clear. Any further encroachment would mean serious trouble for the big cat. The cheetah, sensing the boar's hostility and unwillingness to back down, got the message immediately. Rather than risk an altercation, the cheetah chose to sit down, staying completely still and avoiding any movement that might provoke them. For a tense moment, the three animals stood off, but the cheetah knew it was outnumbered and wisely chose to respect the boar's territory. The silent exchange left no doubt. The boars had successfully defended their ground without lifting a hoof. Driven by extreme hunger, two wolves made a dangerous and almost deadly mistake here. Spotting a group of wild boars traveling through the area, the wolves decided to target one for an easy meal. Unfortunately, they chose a massive boar, a nightmare-sized opponent that would have been difficult enough to handle on its own. But the real blunder was underestimating the whole group of giant boars, each powerful enough to take down a wolf pack. Realizing the danger too late, the wolves tried to retreat as the boars began their counterattack. Luckily for them, they managed to escape just in time. Had they been slower, the wolves would have faced a brutal end at the tusks of the enraged boars. It was a close call, and a harsh reminder of the risks that hunger can drive predators to take. A pack of hungry wolves surrounded a lone wild boar here, working together to bring down the powerful animal. Vastly outnumbered, the boar put up a fierce fight, struggling against each wolf that lunged at it. It took every wolf in the pack to finally overpower the boar, who fought with all it had, but couldn't match the relentless assault. Eventually, the wolves succeeded, killing the unfortunate boar after a hard-won battle. Oddly, though, the wolves didn't stick around to eat their kill. They left the boar's body lying on the ground untouched. What could have made them abandon their meal? Was something lurking nearby that scared them off, or did they have some other reason for leaving? Let us know what you think happened here. Wild boars are absolute experts when it comes to defense, using both their intelligence and their unmatched hostility to keep predators at bay. In this instance, two wolves decided to team up and try to take down a lone wild boar, expecting it to be an easy target. But instead of fleeing or battling them out in the open, the boar cleverly retreated into the dense bushes, using the thick cover to turn the fight in its favor. The wolves, eager for a meal, followed, only to find themselves in a fight they could not handle. Once the wolves were deep enough into the cover, the boar launched its counterattack, using the close quarters to keep them off balance. Despite being outnumbered and smaller in size, the boar's relentless assault left the wolves completely humiliated and struggling to keep up. The boar delivered a harsh lesson to the bloodthirsty predators, leaving them battered and completely exhausted. Here we have a pack of wolves that found themselves on the wrong side of a hunt after crossing paths with a massive herd of wild boars. The moment the boars spotted the wolves, they wasted no time, charging at the predators with thunderous force. Realizing they were severely outmatched, the wolves scattered in panic, running in all directions to avoid the stampede. The boars, each towering and relentless, charged full speed, eager to drive the wolves out of their territory. Thankfully for the wolves, the boar's hefty size slowed them down just enough, allowing the nimble predators to escape without injury. It was a narrow escape and a valuable reminder to the wolves that sometimes the hunters can quickly become the hunted when they encounter an unstoppable force, such as an angry herd of wild boars. Feeling bold and invincible, these wolves set their sights on a relatively large wild boar, confident that their numbers would give them the upper hand. But instead of overpowering the boar with teamwork and strength, things took a quick turn as the boar stood its ground and fearlessly charged at them. The wolves, taken aback by the boar's sudden show of force, began to waver. One by one, they scattered in panic, abandoning their fearless front and even deserting their leader in the chaos. Left alone, the leader realized it had bitten off more than it could chew. The boar, now focused on the lone wolf, gave chase, forcing the desperate leader to flee in a scramble for safety. With the tables turned, the pack's attempt at securing dinner ended in humiliation, leaving their leader to face the very prey that they had underestimated. An unbelievable encounter took place here when a young jaguar, driven by hunger, crossed paths with a young wild boar. The moment the boar spotted the fierce predator, it ran, but the jaguar's speed allowed it to quickly corner the fleeing boar. The two animals stood face to face and an intense battle erupted. They clashed with ferocious energy, each testing the other's strength in a brief but fierce struggle. Surprisingly, after a short fight, the jaguar seemed to realize that it was outmatched and decided to retreat before the boar could cause serious injury. Sensing the jaguar's hesitation, the boar, although brave, was also relieved to see its opponent backing down. Without a second thought, it sprinted off as the jaguar disappeared into the distance, leaving both animals intact and eager to avoid a second round. Eager for a meal, this leopard latched onto a wild boar's lower jaw and tried with all its might to drag it out of its burrow. But the boar had no intention of leaving its safe spot. Despite the leopard's intense efforts, it soon became clear that the boar was far too powerful. Instead of being pulled out, the boar started to back deeper into its burrow, dragging the struggling leopard along with it. Realizing the tables had turned, the leopard knew it was in dangerous territory. The burrow could easily become a deadly trap. With a final burst of survival instinct, the leopard released its grip, leapt away, and ran out from the burrow before the boar could completely turn the situation against it. This close encounter left the leopard with a clear lesson on the risks of taking on opponents in their own territory. With its sights set on a tiny piglet, this hungry leopard chased the little boar through the brush, determined to catch it for an easy meal. But as the leopard closed in, the piglet led it straight into the middle of the road, where 3 fully grown wild boars were waiting. The instant the adult boar spotted the leopard, they charged, surrounding the foolish big cat. Realizing that it had walked right into a trap, the leopard panicked, quickly turning to flee. Spotting a nearby tree, it tried to climb up to safety, but the tree was too slender to hold its weight. The tree broke down, and the leopard fell to the ground, landing among the still angry boars. Utterly terrified, the leopard ran, sprinting with all its might to escape the charging boars. This was one chase that it definitely wasn't gonna forget anytime soon. Spotting a group of wild boars in the distance, this cunning leopard seized the opportunity and charged at them, ready to eat. But just as the leopard closed in, a large boar suddenly appeared from the sidelines, launching a surprise counterattack. The powerful boar rammed into the leopard pretty hard, sending it staggering back. In an instant, the rest of the boars turned the tables, transforming the predator into prey. Together, the boars chased the now panicked leopard, trampling and snapping at it with relentless fury. Realizing that it was in grave danger, the leopard leaped high, barely escaping their reach, and bolted. With one determined boar in hot pursuit, the leopard pushed its speed to the limit, eventually outpacing the enraged boars and escaping into the safety of the distance, breathless but alive. 3 wild boars were caught on camera relentlessly attacking a leopard that was lying motionless in the middle of the road here. The leopard appeared to have been gravely injured, or even dead, likely after an ill-fated attempt to hunt one of the boars. Instead of becoming the leopard's prey, the boars had fought back viciously, turning the tables on the big cat. Now, they stood in the road, venting their aggression on the defeated predator. Their fury was very visible as they continued their assault. This brutal encounter left no doubt that in nature, survival hinges on strength, instinct, and resilience. And even the most formidable predators can quickly find themselves on the losing end of a fight that they had thought sure to win. In a clever and selfless move, this wild boar appeared to allow a leopard to capture it, seeming to surrender in an intense altercation. However, this was no simple capture. The boar was deliberately distracting the leopard to give its nearby piglets a chance to escape. As the leopard focused on its supposed prey, the young boars quickly scattered to safety. Once the boar was sure its babies had gotten far enough away, it made its own break for freedom, slipping from the leopard's grasp. Not satisfied, the leopard gave chase. But when it got too close to the piglets, the boar stopped abruptly, turning to face the predator head-on. With fierce determination, the boar charged straight at the leopard, fully prepared to defend its young. Sadly, the clip cut off right there. But given the boar's courage and strength, it's likely that it managed to fend off the leopard and reunite with its little ones unscathed. Tigers are among the toughest predators in the wild. They're strong, agile, and ruthless hunters. They have a muscular build and razor-sharp instincts, and they're usually the ones to instill fear, taking down any prey with ease. But in a surprising twist, one tiger's confidence was shattered after it tried to attack a wild boar here. Instead of fleeing, the boar fought back fiercely, meeting the tiger's aggression head-on. The tiger, caught off guard, soon found itself in a difficult position as the boar charged at it with sharp tusks ready to strike. The fierce exchange quickly reversed roles, with the tiger scrambling to dodge the boar's attacks. In the end, it was the boar chasing down the tiger, forcing the big cat to dodge it in an unexpected and humbling turn of events. This lioness captured a small boar, hoping to use it as bait to lure in the larger adult boars for a proper meal that could feed her entire pride. But instead of the adults returning to rescue the young one, the lioness got an unexpected surprise. The tiny boar itself launched a furious counterattack. It began headbutting the lioness relentlessly, catching her completely off guard. Even when the lioness released it, signaling she wanted no more trouble, the feisty boar didn't back down. It continued its assault, ramming into the lioness with everything that it had. The lioness, visibly frustrated and out of options, finally abandoned her plan entirely, realizing that this small boar was too much to handle. She retreated empty-handed, leaving her hope of a successful hunt crushed by the fierce little fighter. Finding itself in a desperate situation, pinned down by a hungry leopard, this wild boar had the leopard's jaws clamped tightly around its neck, and the big cat was ready to make the final move, and it seemed like the boar's fate was sealed. But then, luck took an unexpected turn. Out of nowhere, an enraged lioness appeared, furious at the leopard for daring to hunt in her territory. Without hesitation, the lioness attacked, sinking her teeth into the leopard's back. In a panic, the leopard released the boar and fled in terror, leaving its hard-earned prey behind. The boar, seizing the moment, scrambled to its feet and bolted from the scene without looking back. It wasn't gonna stick around and wait for the lioness to attack it or for the leopard to gather its courage and come back for it. Its plan was to run and live, and that's exactly what it did. Here's a young wild boar that found itself in a life-or-death situation after being attacked by a lion and its cubs, suffering serious injuries in the process. Despite its wounds, the boar wasn't ready to give up. Summoning its remaining strength, it struggled to its feet, surprising the lions with its determination. The lion and its cubs, expecting an easy meal, suddenly hesitated as the small, injured boar stood its ground, defiantly preparing to charge. This unexpected display of bravery caught them off guard, and the lions nervously backed away, clearly unsettled by the boar's resilience. Though much smaller and severely weakened, the boar's fierce spirit was enough to make even the king of beasts reconsider, proving that courage can sometimes outmatch size and strength, and even numbers. Lions may be hailed as the kings of the jungle, but even royalty faces unexpected challenges sometimes. This lioness learned that the hard way when it chose to square off with an adolescent boar, only to find itself nearly overwhelmed by its relentless charge. Despite the boar's smaller size, it had no shortage of bravery, and the lioness's hesitation was clear as it scrambled to avoid its tusks. Confidence alone doesn't win battles, and if you don't prepare for victory properly, you might just end up running from an opponent half your size. Take a look at this one. This leopard had spotted a young wild boar and, seeing a defenseless meal, it decided to attack. But as soon as it made its move, the boar's parents charged in with furious determination. In an instant, the tables turned as the leopard found itself running in frantic circles, desperately dodging the boar's razor-sharp tusks. Like a circus performer, it leapt and twisted, narrowly escaping from each deadly charge. The relentless boars kept up their assault, refusing to let the predator get away with its reckless attempt. Eventually, the leopard was overwhelmed by their combined fury and had no choice but to release the young boar. Realizing it was outmatched, the leopard fled, racing off to safety, leaving the family of boars victorious in defending their own. Not your usual showdown, this wild boar's patience snapped after being provoked by a bold rooster. The boar, clearly angered, went absolutely berserk on the unfortunate bird, grabbing it in its powerful jaws and dragging it across the ground with no mercy. The furious boar tossed and crushed the rooster, slamming it down and leaving no room for escape. The rooster, in its misplaced confidence, had underestimated the boar's temper, and it quickly found itself overwhelmed by the massive animal's strength. Perhaps next time the bird would have thought twice before testing the limits of an animal that it clearly couldn't match. Along with their young, this family of wild boars gathered near a swamp to cool off from the blazing sun, eager to take a refreshing drink. Luckily, none of them had entered the water just yet, because moments later, a massive crocodile lurked up from the muddy depths, eyeing the young boars as potential prey. In an instant, the family of boars sprang into action, displaying lethal protectiveness. Charging forward with unwavering bravery, the adult boars met the crocodile's advance head-on, refusing to let it come anywhere near their young. Their aggression and determination were so intense that the massive reptile quickly realized that it was outmatched, quickly cowering in the corner. Successfully scaring away such a bloodthirsty predator, the boars had achieved what even lions often struggle to do. The boars proved that when family is on the line, size doesn't matter. Only courage and unity do. In an epic showdown, a farm pig and a wild boar, both of similar size, clashed in a fierce battle for dominance. Neither one held back, each attacking with all its strength as they charged and slammed into each other. Despite the wild boar's experience in the rugged outdoors, the farm pig proved surprisingly formidable, using sheer determination to match the boar's every move. The struggle continued, with both animals refusing to back down, but slowly, the pig began to gain the upper hand. After an impressive display of power and resilience, the farm pig finally forced the wild boar into retreat, leaving it visibly defeated and humiliated. It was an unexpected victory that showed the pig's strength and spirit, proving that toughness isn't just for the wild. It's all about heart in the end. Ever seen a wild boar get taken down by a goat? Because that wasn't what happened here at all. This wild boar and a goat were having a head-to-head showdown. The goat made the first move, charging right at the boar and headbutting it. But the boar wasn't backing down. It slammed right back with its own headbutt. But while the boar handled the goat's headbutt like it was nothing, the goat couldn't handle the boar's attack at all. The boar knocked the goat completely off balance, making it regret its foolish decision to pick a fight with one of the most vicious creatures in the wild. The goat should have known better than to mess with a creature known to stand up to bears and win. But goats are always picking fights that they cannot win for some reason. In a small pen, a group of sheep stood together nervously. With them, a big wild boar was stomping around, looking like it wanted to pick a fight. The boar seemed pretty angry, and it kept snorting and kicking up dust, daring the sheep to come close. But the sheep weren't interested in fighting. They were terrified. As soon as the boar got near, the sheep scattered and ran in all directions, trying to get away. The boar kept charging at them, almost catching up each time, but never quite reaching them. Luckily, after a few tries, the boar stopped trying. The sheep were safe, but they stayed huddled together, grateful that they didn't get hurt. Cougars are known for being the top predators in their habitat, but not every encounter goes their way. Here we can see a wild boar that was minding its own business, looking for something to eat when a cougar tried to ambush it. The boar ran at first, but it was only trying to flip the script on the bloodthirsty predator. It lured it into a spot where a bunch of other boars were lurking, and as the cougar rushed in, ready to attack, the boars showed up out of nowhere. They charged at the cougar, chasing it away like it was nothing more than a house cat. It was almost like they had been practicing this move their whole lives, and they made the cougar look like an absolute amateur. This hyena spotted a wild boar and wanted to try its luck at hunting it. But with each step that it took towards the boar, hesitation was overwhelming it. And once it was standing face to face with the boar, it realized that it had no way of surviving the encounter if it tried anything. And it was full of fear and doubt as it stared into the boar's defiant eyes. The hyena was smart enough not to try anything to try and seem tough, and it just simply walked away from the boar, saving itself the potential humiliation. I have no idea what these hyenas were thinking or what they wanted by standing so close to a wild boar. Were they trying to hunt it or intimidate it? Because they failed at both. In fact, their presence only worked to anger the boar, and the furious creature ended up charging at them, causing them to flee for their lives with their tails between their legs. As you can see here, an entire clan of hyenas were tailing this wild boar, but the boar didn't even bother to sprint to get away from them. When it felt them get too close, the boar simply turned around, and the hyenas immediately scattered in fear. How pathetic. With its entire clan behind it, this wild dog faked a charge at a wild boar, hoping to scare it into running so they could swarm it and chase after it. The boar's response was the exact opposite though, as it charged right back at the wild dog, which ended up reversing directions and running like hell. You won't believe this one, but we have it on tape, so you don't really have much of a choice. The wild boar was able to trap a fully grown leopard that was at least twice its size on top of a tree, and the leopard was doing its best not to slip and fall down, fearing that the boar was gonna get it with its deadly tusks. God knows how long the poor big cat stayed trapped up there, but let's hope that it didn't do something stupid, like jumping down and trying to challenge the furious beast. This one is even more shocking. Monitor lizards are known to have one of the most venomous bites on the planet. And while even lions will clear the area when one of them is spotted, this baby wild boar charged straight at it when it tried to approach it, sending the bloodthirsty lizard running and causing it to question whether it really was such a badass predator. Did you enjoy this video? Please let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And please, turn on your notifications bell to get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.